Let's just jump right in. We're going to talk about a spiritual practice that, let's be honest, is often misunderstood or just plain ignored, fasting. And we're going to see why, for those of us who follow Yahshua, this isn't some optional extra, but a core, foundational part of our walk with Elohim.
So let's get the big question out of the way right from the start. Is fasting just for prophets, pastors, or, only the most hardcore spiritual warriors among us? Well, the sources we're digging into today make it pretty clear that this idea is a major misconception we need to set aside.
And this right here is the central idea, the main takeaway for us today. In Scripture, fasting isn't presented as an elective course you can take or leave. It's a foundational, non-negotiable pillar of a life that's truly consecrated to Elohim. It's a physical act that shows a deep spiritual hunger. Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to look at the powerful examples set by the Messiah himself. Then we'll get into the spiritual mechanics, like what's actually happening inside us when we fast. After that, we'll get really practical and see how to bring this ancient discipline into our modern lives. And we'll wrap it all up by looking at the ultimate purpose and reward of it all.
So let's start at the very beginning, with the foundation. Why do we even do this? Well, the authority for fasting is anchored right in the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible. And, most importantly for us, it's demonstrated perfectly in the life and the teachings of Yeshua.
What's so amazing is that when you look through Scripture, you see this pattern emerge. Fasting is consistently the response of Yahweh's people during the most critical moments. You have Moses on the mountain, Esther facing total disaster, Daniel seeking divine understanding. They all fasted. And this pattern leads to the most powerful example of all, Yahshua, who kicked off his entire public ministry with a 40-day fast.
And this, right here, might be the most crucial point. It's all in Yeshua's own words, just notice the language. He didn't say, if you fast, as if it were just a possibility or something you might do. He said, when you fast. He framed it as an expected, normal part of a believer's life.
I absolutely love this imagery. In the Sermon on the Mount, Yahshua puts fasting right there alongside prayer and giving to the needy. He weaves them together into what you could call a triple cord of a devoted life. And if you neglect one of those strands, the whole cord gets weaker. Think about it. If the Master himself needed this discipline, wow, how much more do we?
All right, let's move on and build on that. Now that we've really established the why, let's dig into the what. What is actually happening on a spiritual level when we fast? And let's be clear, it's not about forcing Elohim's hand. It's all about changing us from the inside out.
To really get this, we've got to understand a key Hebraic concept, the Yetzer Hara. This is the term for that internal pull, that fleshly desire that is so often driven by our physical appetites for food, comfort, and so on. Fasting is one of the most powerful ways to directly confront and train this part of ourselves.
So what's the result? Well, there are at least 3 huge spiritual effects. First, we are literally training our spirit to be the boss of our body. When you can say no to your stomach, you're strengthening your ability to say no to sin. Second, it's like you're quieting all the noise of your body, which makes your spiritual senses way more sensitive to the voice of Yahweh. And third, Yeshua himself taught that some spiritual battles just require more than prayer. They require fasting. It adds a kind of spiritual weight to our prayers that can truly bring breakthrough.
Okay, this is all great, but how in the world do we apply this ancient practice to our busy, chaotic 21st century lives? Let's get really practical.
Now, for Torah-observant believers, fasting is also a direct act of obedience. The commandment for Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, is to afflict your souls. And even though Yahshua is our ultimate atonement, we still fast on this day to show our complete, total dependence on his sacrifice and to simply obey the command.
And Yahshua couldn't be clearer about our motivation. The goal is never to put on a show for other people, to look extra holy. No, the real power is in that secret, private connection between you and Yahweh. It's all about the heart, not what you look like on the outside.
So how can you actually start doing this? It is so much simpler than you might think. Start small. Seriously, just skip one meal and dedicate that time to prayer or reading the Word. Second, guard your heart. Keep it a secret between you and Elohim. Now, a quick note. A digital fast can be a great way to clear your mind, but just remember that the scriptural focus is on abstaining from food. And maybe the most important tip, have a purpose. Before you start, know why you're fasting. That clear intention is what turns simple hunger into focused, powerful worship.
This brings us to our final section, which is all about the ultimate goal. What is the reward we're really after when we humble ourselves by fasting?
And let's be crystal clear on this. We do not fast to earn our salvation. That is a free gift bought and paid for by Yeshua. We fast to sharpen our spiritual tools, to humble our hearts before Elohim, and to live in a state of readiness for the return of our bridegroom. It's about deepening a relationship, not just checking off a religious duty.
This right here, this is the powerful declaration we make every time we fast. It's a physical testimony to ourselves, to Elohim, to the entire spiritual realm that we depend on Him for absolutely everything. We are saying, your word is more important than bread, and your presence sustains me more than water.
So as we wrap this all up, you can see that the ultimate question isn't just about food, it's about desire. Fasting is really a way to redirect our physical hunger toward a spiritual one. So the question I want to leave you with is this. In your life, right now, what is Elohim asking you to hunger for more than anything else?